The first point is a very quick overview, and as coordinator of the DEDALUS project, as a researcher in engineering informatica, I want to give you just an overview of this research initiative. And the next slide, we will see the project identity card. That means a collection of the most important information related to the project. So the tagline can be easily read on the slide, bringing comfort and power connection for everyday living. So this is basically our motto, just to say like this. And it's an Horizon Innovation Action that has a budget of 7.3 million euros and is being to receive 6 million of funding. It's a 36-month project. It is going to end at the end of April 2026, so in few months. It involves 23 participants having different skills and expertise, coming from 10 different countries. But I want to focus on the acronym of this project, DEDALUS, and the extended title, that is Data-Driven Residential Energy Carrier Agnostic Demand Response Tools and Multi-Value Services. What does it mean? Basically, we must put in evidence the fact that we are talking about the residential buildings, that we are carrier agnostic, energy carrier agnostic. That means that we are considering not only electricity, but also other energy carriers, and demand response. That is the keyword, the most important keyword of this project, because demand response is basically one of the tool that we can have, approach that we can have to exploit flexibility of residential buildings. And the next slide, we can see the context of the project. So, which is the context in which the idea of the project has been conceived, formulated. The context is the one related to the residential buildings. In particular, we know that there is a huge amount of flexibility that could be provided by residential buildings that basically are responsible for 40% of the energy at European level. We have at the moment ICT technologies and IoT-oriented smart appliances at an affordable cost. So this is a context that can promote this kind of initiative, but still we have challenges from the socioeconomic and from the technological point of view. From the socioeconomic point of view, basically, we don't have enough awareness concerning the value of the flexibility related to each energy consumer. The business models that at the moment are considered are not mature enough, so that demand response is not having the appropriate application to real world, so that new business models needs to be defined. We don't have enough beyond financial incentives, because we know that financial incentives and remuneration usually is not enough to, let's say, to guide consumers toward demand response programs. And usually demand response consider electricity without considering the opportunity to combine different energy carriers and to empower flexibility thanks to the different energy networks that are connected to residential buildings. Concerning the technological challenges, we have a problem of interoperability, because there are many data models, many protocols, many data formats, and so there is fragmentation and heterogeneity that must be fixed, finding proper interoperability solutions. We have, yes, smart appliances, but are not ready for demand response. We have a lack of dynamic and closer to real-time coordination to support smart grid application. This is quite important for demand response program implementation. And of course, who has data usually doesn't trust enough to provide this data to other subjects, to other entities. So it's important to protect in some way this data, and this is basically connected to the concept of data space and connectors. In the next slide, we can see the main objectives of the project. So the first one that we can read is about the social science and humanities aspect, because when we talk about energy consumers, we talk about people, and we must engage them in the best way we can, since we must work on their awareness and their availability to contribute to reduction of carbon footprint and so on. So this is a very important aspect of our project, because it's related to co-create and co-design services together with occupants of residential buildings, just to reduce the user acceptance once the new software, innovative software tools are developed. We come from experiences already done in other previous projects like Dream, Bright, Matrix, DigiBuild. So the models, the protocols, the algorithms, the services has been taken, reused, evolved, and so on, combined. Of course, we must consider the problem of interoperability by managing with proper ontology, with proper data models, and also referring to the experience in energy share concerning the energy data space, so connectors, and deliver a technological layer, including data-driven services, AI-based services, demand response algorithms, and so on, that are useful to support demand response programs. The definition of new business models is another key aspect of the project, because when we talk about demand response, it's not easy to find proper business models that can promote and sustain demand response program. And last but not least, it's quite important that this project is not isolated, but all the results are shared with the scientific community and with proper stakeholders, especially in the domain of residential buildings. So communication, dissemination, and collaboration with other EU initiatives is another key point of the project. In the next slide, we are going to see the pilots of this project. We have 7 different pilots. The first 5 can be considered the front runners, that are basically the first pilots that have adopted our technology, and the 6th and 7th pilot are basically multipliers. That is an internal experiment of replication inside the project during the project lifetime. We have a pilot in Austria, and the keyword is basically energy community, because we go to aggregate flexibility in order to sell this flexibility to the flexibility market. The second is about Denmark, and here the keyword is power and heat, because here we consider also another energy carrier, that is heat. So this is because demand is not, DEDALUS is considered demand response, also considering other energy carriers. In Greece, we combine power and gas, so another energy carrier. In Italy, power and comfort, since we are talking about a building in which elder people live, and so are assisted people that need to keep comfort in specific under specific threshold. So the combination of demand response and comfort is particularly relevant in this specific pilot. In Spain, we talk about demand response in a context of district level flexibility, and in Ireland, power to heat. So we use basically heat pump to implement demand response on a residential building. And last but not least, in Romania, we have a campus of students in which we implemented a blockchain-based solution able to aggregate the flexibility of the different apartments in the entire campus. The last slide is basically related to the main outcomes, so the expected results, the ones we are working just to finalize by the end of the project. So a business layer, again, demand response building centered business models, so something innovative that is able to promote demand response in this specific domain. Technology enablers, that means basically a number of different applications that have been deployed and tested and validated in the different pilots based on machine learning, artificial intelligence, data-driven services, and so on. And of course, as I mentioned before, a set of tools related to the application of social science and humanities to the involvement of energy consumers, because of course energy consumers must be taken into consideration during the initial phase of the project, and this is what we did, co-creation and co-design, so that services and application can be better accepted when these applications are deployed into the pilots. So this is a very, very quick overview of the project, and now it's time to leave the floor to my colleague Ilario Fino from Icons, that is going to present the educational kit. Thanks.
Thank you, Diego. Hello, everyone. I am Ilario Orfino from Fondazione Icons, and I am the Dissemination and the Communication Manager of DEDALUS project. In this part of the workshop, I will present the DEDALUS Educational Kit, one of the key knowledge transfer outcomes of our project. And this was developed to support awareness, learning, and capacity building around residential energy flexibility, and to make the DEDALUS approach understandable and accessible to a wider audience beyond the technical consortium. Next slide, please. In the next few minutes, I will explain four main aspects. First, what the DEDALUS Educational Kit is. Secondly, why we developed it and what its main objectives are. Then, who the Educational Kit is designed for. And finally, what the Educational Kit covers in terms of content and learning materials. Next slide. Okay, no, the same, sorry. The DEDALUS Educational Kit is a learning resource that introduces residential energy flexibility and its role in supporting the energy transition. It was developed by a panel of project partners, including Università Politecnica delle Marche, Engineering, Cartif, N2A, and Fondazione Icons. One of its key strengths is that it combines different perspectives, technical insights on flexibility service, behavioral aspects related to user engagement, and a concrete example from real pilot demonstration across Europe. Moreover, the Educational Kit integrates visual explanations, case studies, and references to other relevant EU-funded projects, ensuring both scientific robustness and accessibility. Okay. Why we developed this educational kit? First, to explain how residential buildings and the communities can actively contribute to grid stability through smart and user-centered demand response. Second, to provide a clear and accessible overview of the three core DEDALUS services: the energy flexibility tool, the comfort flexibility service, and the district level energy management system. And finally, to translate complex research and technological developments into practical knowledge that can be understood and used by learners, educators, and practitioners. Next slide. The educational kit was designed for multiple target groups. First, it supports students interested in energy systems, sustainable buildings, smart grids, artificial intelligence for energy and digitalization. Second, it provides useful insights for researchers working on demand response, flexibility modeling, indoor comfort, IoT monitoring, and energy communities. Third, it offers teaching resource that can be integrated into academic courses or professional training programs. This makes this educational kit a flexible and reusable capacity building tool. Next slide. Perfect. In terms of content, the educational kit provides a comprehensive overview of the DEDALUS ecosystem and approach. It also introduces the innovative flexibility services developed within the project, including flexibility forecasting tools, comfort-driven optimization services, and district-level energy management solutions. And this helps learners understand both the technical functioning and the broader systemic value of these solutions. Next slide. Finally, the educational kit includes real use cases from DEDALUS pilot sites across Europe, showing how these solutions work in practice in different residential and community contexts. These examples demonstrate how flexibility forecasting, comfort modeling, and multi-asset optimization can be applied in real buildings. And in addition, the kit builds on previous EU funding projects, such as DigiBuild, Matrix, BD for Energy, ensuring continuity with existing research and reinforcing the broader European innovation ecosystems. So this makes the educational kit not only an educational resource for students like you, but also a tool to support knowledge transfer, replication, and the future adoption of demand response solutions. Next slide. Well, thank you. And now I give the floor to Statis from N2A.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes, great. So I am Stathis Aradinopoulos from NTUA, and together with my team, we developed the flexibility assessment tool, Flexit for short, and I will give you a brief walkthrough. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so the goal of this tool is to estimate the flexibility of buildings and apartments. And by flexibility, we mean the potential for us to shift shiftable loads and participate in demand response schemes so that we can better take advantage of, for example, produced energy from PVs during the noon and so on. This tool has two approaches. One is for aggregated flexibility, meaning that we calculate the whole flexibility of a building or apartment without dedicated meters for each device. For example, this building has X amount of flexibility and we can shift it this or that way. And the more specialized disaggregated flexibility, in which, again, without dedicated meters, we are able to use non-intrusive load monitoring and other machine learning algorithms in order to discern from the whole energy load of the apartment, what each device specifically consumes, and then arrange the program for this device. But to make things easier, I have prepared a demo for you that we can see the tool work in action. You can play the video later. I think there should be sound.
Okay, let me reshare again.
Yeah.
Now you should hear also.
And apartments across Europe.
Yeah.
Welcome to Flexit, a platform designed as part of the EU-funded DEDALUS project to help energy stakeholders analyze and manage energy flexibility in buildings and apartments across Europe. Upon logging in, we're greeted by the homepage. Here we can learn more about the tool through various tabs. In the What It Is tab, we see that Flexit enables energy stakeholders from 7 European countries to analyze and manage energy flexibility, especially in buildings with integrated photovoltaic systems. The tool is specifically designed for building managers, facility operators, energy service companies, utility companies, researchers and academics. The platform provides detailed analytics, including average usage patterns, flexibility indicators from historical data, and actionable suggestions for energy optimization up to 7 days in advance. Ready to explore further? Let's click on the Begin button. We're now on the selection page. In step 1, we select our country from a map of Europe. Let's choose one of the participating countries. In step 2, we decide whether to calculate aggregated or disaggregated flexibility. To start, we'll select aggregated flexibility. Next, we're presented with the data insertion page. Here we can see the compliance requirements for our input data. In addition, a sample dataset is available to guide us on the required format. Let's proceed by clicking Click to add data. On this page, we select our model, input our data, and configure our flexibility range. For every step, there are tooltips to further guide the user. We begin by either creating a new model or using an already trained model with a new dataset. Next, we upload our data, ensuring it meets the specified requirements. We will then specify our flexibility time range between 1 and 7 days. Let's choose 3 for this example. With our settings confirmed, we click Calculate to generate our analysis. As our model trains and forecasts are prepared, we arrive at the Analytics dashboard. Here we gain comprehensive insights into our dataset. We can view total, average, and maximum consumption and production statistics. The time series chart displays consumption and production over time, complete with interactive tooltips and zoom functionality. We can export this data as an image, CSV, XLS, or PDF file, print it, or view it in full screen mode. The daily average load profile and hourly average load profile charts help us understand our typical energy usage patterns. We also see weekly flexibility data for the week immediately following our dataset period. In all of the charts, the user is able to use the legend to toggle between the display options of the chart. Let's navigate to the Forecast section, using the toolbar. Here we display the next day forecasts for consumption and production that our machine learning models produced. We display a set of charts for the next day and a set of charts for the period that the user selected in flexibility time range selection, in our case 3 days. Energy flexibility indicators, EFIs, provide insights into our potential for adjusting energy usage. The up and down flexibility chart illustrates opportunities to increase or decrease consumption based on availability. The flexibility category distribution charts categorize our flexibility levels over time. Finally, we receive personalized suggestions on how to shift our energy loads to make the best use of available energy, enhancing efficiency and potentially reducing costs. Now let's see what happens when we select disaggregated flexibility instead. Because the analysis is more detailed, the data requirements are slightly different from the aggregated mode. Disaggregated flexibility supports up to 24 months of data, a maximum dataset size of 1 GB, a higher temporal resolution, down to 10-minute intervals. After reviewing these requirements, we configure the disaggregated forecasting model and upload our dataset. Just like before, we can create a new forecast model by giving it a custom name and optional description, or reuse a previously trained model to keep the same settings or compare results across different time periods. The platform accepts time series files that follow the disaggregated specifications. We then select the appliances we want to analyze, such as TVs, dishwashers, washing machines, or washer-dryers, so we can focus on specific shiftable loads. Once the dataset is processed, we're taken to the Energy Analytics and Forecasting dashboard for disaggregated analysis. At the top, a summary banner presents total consumption for the last 30 days, the average daily load, and the date of the peak consumption day. Below that, a high-resolution time series chart shows minute-level consumption for the selected period. Here we can clearly see spikes and clusters that correspond to appliance events, like washing machine cycles, making it easy to spot recurring patterns, brief peaks, or unusual behavior that might need attention. To make things even clearer, the dashboard includes two aggregated visualizations: the daily average load profile, which smooths consumption to reveal long-term rhythms and highlights any outlier days, and the hourly average load profile, which condenses data by hour, showing when appliances are typically active. For example, low early morning demand, steady daytime usage, and strong evening peaks when household activity increases. Once the disaggregated forecasting model has been configured and run, the system redirects us to the forecast's dashboard for appliance-level predictions. Here, a series of charts provides both total and device-specific perspectives. The disaggregated forecast total consumption chart shows a time series projection of overall energy demand for the selected forecast horizon, the next 3 hours, helping us spot expected trends and usage patterns. Just below, the appliance-level consumption breakdown chart splits this forecast by device, with predicted consumption curves for each monitored appliance. This makes it clear which appliances dominate energy use at different times, and where demand-side actions will have the greatest impact. To check how well the model performs, the last day real versus predicted consumption by appliance chart overlays actual and predicted consumption for the most recent day. This helps us quickly assess forecast accuracy and highlight any devices or time periods with large deviations, which may point to data issues, behavioral changes, or model limitations. Finally, the disaggregated flexibility forecast chart shows the estimated flexibility potential over time. Expressed as a percentage, it indicates how much of the predicted consumption could be shifted or reduced in each interval. Higher percentages reveal prime opportunities for demand response actions, such as rescheduling appliance use to better match grid conditions or optimize energy costs. In combination, these visualizations deliver a detailed, appliance-level view of near-future energy behavior, supporting accurate forecasts, actionable flexibility insights, and fine-tuned scheduling or automation for smarter, more efficient homes and buildings. Flexit empowers energy stakeholders to make informed decisions by providing detailed analytics and actionable forecasts. By leveraging these insights, users can optimize energy management and contribute to a more sustainable future. Thank you for joining us on this tour of the Flexit.
That is all for the
Welcome to
flexibility
Flexit.
tool. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Statis. Hi everyone, this is Richard from UniVPN, and I'm going to show you what we developed during the DEDALUS project, basically a comfort flexibility service. That aims basically to guarantee the occupants' health and well-being during demand response event. I want to note and highlight that this kind of service is a human-centric service, so everything is tailored around the user, and the user basically are residents or building and apartment managers. How the service works? Basically, we start from the building level where we have installed all the sensors, the EEQ sensors, and of course energy sensors. And all of those information after a pre-processing merge into the core of this service, which is the comfort flexibility model, and is divided into two parts. The comfort model, which is responsible to assess the daily comfort of the tenants, and the recommendation system, which is responsible to provide actionable comfort flexibility recommendation for the next day for the user, and also energy flexibility. I will explain later the difference between the comfort flexibility and the energy flexibility. After the recommendation system, basically, okay, we obtain 3 recommendations, and both the daily comfort condition assessment and the recommendation solution for the next day are displayed, are shown into the digital twin and provided to the end user. As I said before, the end user can be also the resident itself, or maybe a building manager or the apartment manager. What is the main important thing that during demand response event, when basically the grid asks to the building manager, apartment, or to the residents to lower their energy consumption under a certain threshold, basically the end user has to choose basically what is the recommendation that can, let's say, meet both their comfort and of course the grid request, basically obtaining the optimal trade-off solution between comfort and energy. Overall, this is the service that we developed. In the next slide, what I'm reporting to you is a more insight of the recommendation system and how it works, and why I was saying that is a human-centric approach. We start, of course, as I said before, from the input data, which are the environmental and energy data, comfort indicators, and seasonal parameters. What we do basically is to train 2 different models, one to predict the comfort, which is, let's say, representative of that user in that specific apartment, and the energy model is responsible to assess to that specific comfort condition what is the energy consumption. After that we train these 2 models that are, I want to specify, that are let's say specifically for each residence. What we do is we apply a grid search. So basically we try all the possible combination between temperature and relative humidity, for temperature between 18 degrees to 30 and relative humidity to 40 to 70%. And we provide for each hour to the pre-trained comfort and energy model this kind of possible setups. And how we obtain the recommendation, basically we have 3 target function, and the first solution is the one that maximizes the comfort indicator and of course minimize energy consumption. And the solution 3 is the one that maximizes energy savings. And the solution 2 is basically a balanced one obtained basically by averaging the solution 1 and solution 3. Here I've reported some model evaluation performance of the training part for 2 use cases, the Italian pilot and the Danish pilot. And here I reported some example of the forecasted solution, basically the recommendation solution for the next day. And here I want to note that in the left figure, as you can see, in the red curve is the one that is the forecasted energy consumption provided by Flexit, the service that Statis was explaining before. And those 3 curves, the blue, the orange, and the green one, are the solution that guarantees the comfort and minimize the energy saving compared to the baseline. So we can say, first of all, that it's possible to obtain an energy efficiency without overlooking comfort, and this is one of the most important results that we achieved during DEDALUS. And also in each solution, as you can see, what I was mentioning before that we mean for comfort flexibility is that, for example, taking the solution 2, we have a range of temperature and relative humidity, and of course a range of energy saving, and that means that guaranteeing the comfort of solution 2 and an energy optimization of solution 2, we can move the comfort in a range that goes from 25 to 26 and to 46 to 60. That is what we mean for comfort flexibility. And then how this connect with the demand response. Basically, the demand response, as I was saying before, is guaranteeing a certain energy consumption that is related to what the grid needs at that moment. So for the energy flexibility, we mean moving from solution 1 to solution 3 or to solution 2. Here is another example for the Danish pilot. Basically is the same the idea, but one specific difference from the Italian pilot is that in the Danish pilot we made, as Diego mentioned in the initial part, an energy flexibility based on comfort, of course, but on another energy carrier, which was the heating system. Instead, in the Italian pilot, we were mentioning the electricity flexibility. So how does the demand response work? Basically, we provide to the end user the recommendation, basically, so the comfort flexibility actions. When the grid request arrives, the end user or the building manager can choose basically the best solution that meet the comfort condition of the users and, of course, grid requests. To sum up, what we were able to achieve in the DEDALUS project was an enhancement of comfort that goes from a minimum of 55 to 82 comfort enhancement, and an energy consumption optimization between 54 to 86. That depends on which energy carrier we are taking into account. That's all from my side. I leave the floor to Viviana.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Viviana Martinez. I'm a researcher in Cardiff Technology Centre, where we focus on R&D projects such as DEDALUS, where we collaborate with other institutions to develop cutting-edge services, such as the district-level energy management system that I will introduce to you today. So let me start with the idea of an energy community. When we talk about an energy community, we may think of several assets distributed within the proximity of a group of individuals for their collective benefit. However, the management of these assets becomes a non-trivial engineering challenge because it requires of an intelligent layer capable of ensuring that the energy is optimally used while the energy interests, the community interests are satisfied. So that intelligent layer is this district level energy management systems. It is an innovative approach to demand response because it leverages the management of the community's collective assets, and it also unlocks several advantages. For example, it involves the full value chain. It also seeks to maximize the economic benefits while minimizing the energy costs. And it also integrates seamlessly into the community. So in the figure on the right, we have a typical configuration for our energy community with several assets. So monitoring devices are installed throughout the community to capture the real-time data that is used by a pre-aggregation framework to produce forecasts for both generation and demand. And then those forecasts are used by the EMS to produce the management recommendations for the assets, which are then communicated back to the devices in the form of control actions, ensuring a reliable operation for the community. In the next slide, please. We have how this operates. It is an algorithm that designs and solves a nonlinear optimization problem. Here are some of the computational resources used for its development and deployment. The algorithm is coded in Python. It connects to a PostgreSQL database to store essential data. It is designed using the PyEmo language and solved using the IPOpt solver. Both of these are open source tools that are widely accepted within the developer and optimization communities. The service is executed on a daily basis, and it can also be continuously monitored using visualization tools such as Grafana. On the right, we have the overall workflow. So once the service is launched, it starts a cycle or a loop that continuously is checking for the time. So each day at about 22 hours, the system retrieves all that metering data, the forecasts, and compute the EV charging requirements based on the requested state of charge and the available time window to meet that request. So once all this necessary data is ready, the service runs the optimization and stores the resulting recommendations for the following day. In this figure, you may see that each step may involve either saving data or retrieving data from the database. And it was designed this way because this allows us to study the historical performance of the service. So we can revisit what the service has been doing in order to identify potential areas for improvement. So in the next slide, we have the valuable outputs. So we have the management of the shared storage, which means charging and discharging schedules for the shared batteries, the charging profiles for the electric vehicles that ensure that the required energy is delivered within the specified time, the community net power. This is the expected power exchanged between the community and the grid, and other quantities of interest, such as the cost predicted by the optimization. Moving on to the next slide. We have some results for the self-consumption maximization. This validation was performed with real data from the Austrian pilot. So we have here in the top figure the main quantities. The continuous lines represents the power flows, with positive values being the generation or power being stored in the batteries or purchased from the grid. On the contrary, the negative values indicate a discharging process for the battery or power being injected back to the grid. In this figure, the total consumption includes both the non-flexible loads, which are the forecast, and the flexible loads, which are the power allocated for the charging of the electrical vehicles. That's why we see that about 8 hours the total consumption increases, because this is the designated time to start the charging processes for the EVs. And this becomes essential for the design of the optimization problem. So as a key result here, we have that the renewable and stored energy are used to meet the demand whenever possible. This is that the service is recommending to purchase energy from the grid only when the solar generation and the storage and the stored energy cannot meet the demand, and also feeding the surplus energy back to the grid when, for example, the battery capacity has been reached. On the right, we have, as a complementary information, the EV charging profiles. So we can see here that the power is smoothly distributed from 8 to 17 hours to meet the target state of charge of the 80%. So in the final slide, just to conclude, here are some highlights of this service, which manages the use of the shared assets within the residential communities. It seeks to maximize the self-consumption and minimize the energy costs, recommends charging and discharging profiles to the community's assets operators, and it is a modular and follows a continuous integration and continuous deployment approach. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Hello, it's Alessandro Rossi here. from engineering informatica, and would like to introduce you the three speakers of this final roundtable session, who are Emma and Thomas and Silvia. So I would like to start with a brief introduction of the three pilots. So I'll give the floor to the three pilot leaders, starting from the Austrian one. So Emma, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. My name is Emma Bieser. I'm the co-founder and managing director of the Our Power Cooperative. We are located in Vienna, in Austria. And in the DEDALUS project, we are running the Austrian pilot, and I'm happy to give a brief introduction to the Austrian pilot now. Next slide, please. Thank you. First of all, I would like to give you a brief context of the pilot. You can see it on the picture. This is the so-called Green Point building. And what we developed within the Austrian pilot is a building level energy community. And in this energy community, we have a mix of renewable generation, battery storage, and EV charging infrastructure. This building, this pilot site, includes exactly these technologies. It's PV on the rooftop. There was existing battery storage and some EV charging stations. And in the project, additional battery capacity and the smart EV charging platform were deployed to enable these flexibility services and pre-aggregation on the energy community level. We already heard it before. It's about the people also in the Austrian pilot. And we had two target user groups in the Austrian pilot. On the one hand, the residential users, so people living in that building. And on the other hand, the community managers who are operating and managing the energy community. Next slide, please. So we had some pre-existing issues that made it very interesting to work on that project and on the pilot. There was no unified energy management across PV, storage, and EV charging. In the building, they had installed vendor systems, so technology from different vendor systems. And so we had a lot of fragmented data. There was no controllability of assets for flexibility. And what it made it so interesting for us, there was really no digital tool for community management or user engagement. Still in the Austrian pilot, we had during the project phase some limitations. There was still no operational control of PV storage or EV charging. So the flexibility was only simulated. We had limited access to on-site systems and inconsistent system availability. And what was really an issue in working with the community, we really had a language barrier because many of the residents had only limited German and also limited English skills. Next slide, please. These are the technological enablers that were implemented in the Austrian pilot. The Universal Secure Gateway, TE6, was deployed on-site to collect and simulate PV battery and EV charging data. TE10, the community nudging app, was developed and prepared for user onboarding. TE12, the community management platform, was deployed for registration of new users for the energy community and automated billing. And the TE13, the integration of renewable forecasting service and known EV charging schedules planned. I think I have one last slide. Yeah, exactly. What I present you here are 3 screens of our nudging app that we developed in the Austrian pilot. On the very left side, you can see the production and consumption of the whole energy community on that day. So in blue, you would see the energy production by the PV system, and in orange you see the consumption of the members of the whole energy community. The dark colors always indicate how much of the produced energy is also used within the energy community. On the screen in the middle you see the individual view. So one member of the energy community sees his or her individual energy values of production and consumption. And on the screen on the very right side, you see these, so we called it nudging interventions. So if there is a lot of PV power available because the sun is shining, we recommend the residents, please turn on your washing machine or your dishwasher when the sun is shining at noon, or the other way around. If there's a rainy day, please do not charge your electric vehicle today and wait until tomorrow morning. Okay, so far from the Austrian pilot.
Thank you so much, Emma. Thank you. So now I'll give the floor to Thomas to introduce you the Danish pilot.
Hello. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes, okay. My name is Thomas, and I'm responsible for the coordination of the Danish DEDALUS pilot at the Fællesbo Housing Association. Fællesbo owns and manages around 6,500 rental homes distributed in 200 departments. And in one of these departments, the Danish pilot is ongoing. I'll now give you a brief introduction to our pilot site and the key findings. The site consists of 56 apartments within a larger social housing association with a total of 210 units built in the 1960s. The entire area is currently undergoing a deep renovation from 2033 to 26, including new installation, new windows, roofing, and complete upgrades of all technical installations. This means new piping, heating system, electrical systems, mechanical ventilation units, smart home technology, and solar panels. The target users are a very diverse group of tenants, more than 10 nationalities, which creates a multilingual environment and unique communication challenges like in the German pilot. Local service staff and the technical managers from the housing association are also involved as they support the residents during the renovation and implementation of new systems. Okay, next slide. Here you can see the services implemented from the user perspective. All radiators in the 56 apartments have been equipped with smart thermostats. Tenants have now access to the Preheat web app, that's our technical enabler, where they can set different heating profiles for each room in the apartment. They can choose vacation mode and they can prioritize either comfort or energy savings. The comfort economy slider also enables the system's algorithm to relieve the district heating network during peak load periods. The Preheat platform is also available to the technical staff. That's the picture on the far right side. It allows them to support the tenants by monitoring indoor climate and help to prevent issues such as mold. We also installed indoor climate monitoring equipment to collect data for optimization and decision making. Overall, these services aim to give tenants more control, improve energy efficiency, and support better building level heating management. And the next slide, I will tell about some of the issues and practical challenges in our pilot. Before the project, tenants already paid individually for heating and hot water based on measured consumption. The central heating system, however, operated at full readiness all year with only minor adjustment, making it insufficient. And this is because the heat loss from the pipe system, especially during the summer period, ends up as wasted heat in the building. Onboarding the residents to the preheat app took more than 3 months, and this was due to language barriers, tenants' IT literacy, financial pressures, and varying levels of interest in managing heating settings. The language barriers were particularly significant among the among the 56 apartments, including in the pilot. I encountered residents speaking more than 10 different languages. We visited all residents who were interested in having the preheat app installed on their phone, and out of the 56 apartments, 32 choose to adopt preheat. Many residents, because of financial constraints, keep their heating very low or completely turned off, which limits the potential benefit of the flexibility tools. Another problem is that some residents leave underfloor heating in their bathrooms on all year round, and this prevents the system from being switched to summer mode. We also encountered technical issues because the hydronic balancing of the heating system caused insufficient heat distribution during cold periods. This meant that the central system algorithm based on demand response and weather forecast couldn't operate effectively. To sum this up, the pilot clearly demonstrated both the potential and real-world barriers of implementing smart heating solution in a diverse social housing community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Now I would like to give the floor to Silvia for the Italian pilot.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Silvia Palma, and I am substituting my colleague Gloria today. Unfortunately, she couldn't join, but I'm a project manager at Innovation and Development Department in ISRA, which is a public care provider based in the northeastern part of Italy, not far from Venice. And we are the site of the Italian pilot. In particular, our pilot was based in a senior co-housing. Our organization manages services for older people, both in long-term care sector, home care, and also in the innovative co-housing, which is called Borgo Mazzini Smart Co-housing. This co-housing is located in the city center of Treviso and is made by different buildings. They are located in historical buildings. Basically, it's an old monastery, and all these different buildings are. Some of them are connected, others are separated. But among all of them, we decided to involve in the project as a pilot 2 buildings, Casa Maddalena and Casa Tito Garzoni, involving a total of 16 apartments. And we made this choice because the 2 buildings have different characteristics. One of them, Casa Maddalena, is fully electric, while the other one is served by electricity and gas. And therefore, given the different features of the 2 buildings, also the actions and the type of services varied, were a little bit different. And in terms of target users, as I was saying, in our co-housing live older residents. They are over 65 years old, but the range of people go also above 80 years old. And all these pilot involved on the other side also the technical department, which is part of the administration of ISRA, because the main feature, and we can see it in the next slide, of the co-housing is that the energy is managed in a centralized way. But given, and I will explain this a little bit later, but given these buildings, we faced a number of pre-existing issues. First of all, the lack or it was not possible to have renewable energy production. And this was due not only because of the infrastructure present at the site, but also because the co-housing is, as I was saying, located in historical buildings in the city center, and our organization faced a lot of constraints in terms of cultural heritage. We are not able to modify or to install, for example, solar panels on the roofs or on these buildings because they are bound with the cultural heritage regulation. And then on the other side, the two buildings, especially this is true for Casa Maddalena, face a high electricity consumption. This is one of the main reasons we joined the project, and we tried to work on this. And the organization, ISRA in general, being a public organization, a public entity, is also bound and is limited in its action in the energy provision, management, and purchase to a number of regulatory limitations because of its public nature. And in all this context, we also faced a low granularity, data granularity. And for example, we were not able to analyze the consumption of each apartment before the project, but only at the building level based on monthly bills. So this wasn't giving us a proper monitoring or proper analysis of the situation. And all these pre-existing issues were also let's say, burdened by further limitations in the demand response actions. For example, as I was mentioning before, the energy management is centralized. And this means that the technical department, so the administration, manages the provision of energy to the apartments, and the residents on their side pay fixed monthly bill for the energy consumption, and they can adjust a fixed temperature according to their feeling. But of course, this action is limited. And along with this, we also faced problems regarding strong digital barriers. In fact, dealing with older residents who in most cases had low digital skills was a real challenge. And in this context, we decided to, and we worked with the other partners of the project to provide on one side to the technical department a service and a way to manage, monitor energy consumption at apartment level. And this was done with the technological enabler number 8, which is the digital twin, and also the flexibility modeling tool for the residential DR. And in this way, they were able to monitor and to receive a forecast and recommendations on the best ways to manage the energy and to provide energy at the apartment level, while always keeping into consideration, and this is the main aspect and the main action of our pilot, keeping into consideration the comfort of residents as the main thing to consider. And this was done integrating the comfort flexibility model that was integrated in the digital twin and deployed. And we are at the stage where we are now working on this and testing all these solutions at the pilot level. And the comfort particularly was important because it was useful for the technical department, but of course it had a real impact on the residents, where the recommendations provided by the digital twin are personalized on the comfort of each resident in each apartment. And apart from this, we also integrated the flexibility modeling tool, as I was saying, and the residential DR flexibility and interoperability building blocks. And we are now at the stage where we are finalizing the multi-value DR for virtual cluster of buildings. So this is just a brief introduction, and I will hand over to Alessandro again.
Thank you so much, Silvia, and thank you all for all your brief but complete introduction. Very, very interesting, absolutely. Now I would like to start these roundtable question session, starting with the results. So the first question is for you, Emma. You have created a real community that shares the energy, a bit like sharing messages, let's say. My question is, your platform and the shared battery really made participants save money and the consumption is optimized as you expected?
Well, yes and no. I'd say it like this. So there are different ways to save money. On the one hand, the people who are living there in the Greenpoint building, they are using the Our Power marketplace, the platform for energy trading, plus they are members in the energy community. And according to the Austrian law, there is a cost reduction for the electricity which is traded within the energy community. So this is the first possibility where people really can save money when they take part in the Austrian pilot. The second point is that the real demand response was not implemented in that way in the Austrian pilot. So the use of flexibility would need a functional energy management system, and this was not the case in the pilot. But what we did is a lot of simulation how people could save money. And the third aspect is that, so we developed the nudging app, and in December we started to onboard the residentials to the nudging app, and so now a lot of them are already using this app, and with all the tips how to save energy. And if they accept the tips, so if they follow our recommendations, they really can save money when they spend energy when it's produced at the same time.
Thanks, Emma. Yes, of course, some challenges sometimes it's research, so we know.
Yeah.
So, Thomas, the second question is for you, is always about the results and regarding the aggregation of the flexible energy resources. The use of the radiators and the valve feedback in the control loop did actually improve the district heating flow temperature and reduce the demand peaks as your simulation predicted?
So as I explained earlier in my presentation of the Danish pilot, we encountered significant issues with the hydronic balancing of the heating system. And several apartments did not receive sufficient heat output, and some residents experienced indoor temperatures as low as 16 degrees. So they started complaining. And because of this, we had to temporarily pause the data collection that feeds into the control loop algorithm designed to optimize the building's load based on the flexibility model. Testing of the algorithm resumed in December after we got hold of the hydraulic balancing of the heating system, and it's now working as supposed.
Thank you, Thomas. Yes, of course, as I said to Emma, it's part of the game. This kind of challenges we know. Silvia, instead for the Italian pilot, you know that your pilot is peculiar for the fact that the well-being of the seniors is put at the center. And did you manage this difficult task of reducing the energy consumption without compromising the behavior and the conditions of the dwellers, using the artificial intelligence as a guardian for the comfort?
So yes, first of all, I have to say that the pilot is still ongoing on our site, and therefore we cannot we're not able yet to ensure an overall energy consumption reduction. We are still assessing the service, and we are, of course, in the pilot phase. But what I can say is that we noticed a very interesting thing, that after the provision of the recommendation to the residents, they are mainly following the recommendation on energy saving. And this is interesting because it really means that it is not affecting their comfort. And therefore, we expect a reduction in energy consumption. And at the same time, we did not witness an increase of complaints in terms of comfort, because we are able, and we are monitoring also their possible complaints to see if there is any problem in this sense. And for example, in 5 households of Casa Maddalena, only in 1 there was a decrease in comfort, and this is maybe also due to the fact that the comfort model is based on SPMV index, but soon also the thermal sensation vote that we collected in the previous phases will be integrated, and in this way the comfort will be even more personalized. So we really hope and we expect that on one side the energy consumption will be reduced, but also their sensation and their comfort in the apartments will stay the same. And yeah, so this is it basically.
Thanks, Silvia. Very interesting results, actually. Thank you all for this part of sharing the outcomes that you found. You have already started with some difficulties that you encountered. Now I would like to ask you, Emma, behind the scenes, making the smart meters, the database, the energy market, talk to each other seem to be like a titanic task sometimes, no? And so what was the biggest challenge in making all these entities work smoothly?
I think it was the data management and the data exchange for the 2 services we developed. So the peer-to-peer platform and the energy community managers cockpit and the app, because we have basically a good Austrian law that says that the DSO is responsible for providing data for energy communities. And we have installed in Austria a so-called energy data exchange platform, and all the DSOs, they have to deliver their smart meter data to this exchange platform, and we retrieve this data from the platform for our services. And this platform and this kind of data exchange isn't still working very properly. For us, this means that very often data is wrong or data is missing, and so we cannot run our services properly. And our services that are affected by this missing data is, for example, the accounting in the energy community, but also in the app, we cannot show the real data, the forecast service is missing, or even historical data is not available. And so it's somehow frustrating for us or also for the users if they do not see the data just because the DSO doesn't deliver the data in time or properly. And yes, we are also really struggling with data cleansing, and this means a lot of time and a lot of work that my team has to do just to get the right data. So in theory, and in the law, yeah, it sounds great, but in practice, it's still hard and a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Thanks, Emma. There is always a lot of work behind the scenes that is always hidden, let's say, from the results that we obtain. Instead, for the Danish pilot, Thomas, you identified already some important issues, technical issues that you had to manage and to address for the ventilation system, the electrical and the thermal system that were not completely linked. My question is, how did this affect your approach to the electrical flexibility and the overall business case for your pilot?
Yes, we also experienced some problems in that regard. One of the core ideas in the Danish pilot was to use the electrical system to relieve pressure on the district heating network during peak load situations. And all apartments are equipped with decentralized air handling units with heat recovery as required by Danish building code. And these units ensure a sufficient supply of fresh air to the dwellings. However, the systems are not designed for cooling, and while they can provide heating, this requires an additional electric heating coil to be installed. But we discovered relatively late in the process that these coils were not installed in our buildings. And as a result, the electrical and thermal systems were effectively uncorrelated, and we had to abandon this part of the project. And this naturally affected our strategy for electrical flexibility and unfortunately removed a key element from the intended business case.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Thomas. Instead, Silvia, for you, something that is also connected to the social aspect of your pilot. We know that the technology and the elderly people don't always get along with. But I know that you could turn this obstacle into a valuable listening opportunity. Can you tell us about this more?
Yes, all the digital dimension was a real challenge. First of all, I must say that since the beginning of the project, we started to really engage residents, and they were very willing to participate and had a very positive attitude, even though they were aware of the action that we were going to implement in the pilot. But then when we really started to work very closely with them, for example, through the collection of the thermal sensation vote, we faced the first challenge, and that was the digital tool acceptance. For example, it was a very simple action. The thermal sensation vote was to be sent and collected via Telegram app, via chat, where they could simply click and send their vote. And for them, that was really too much, not only because of maybe the difficulty of the action, but also because it was perceived somehow as an intrusion in their lives, considering also that not all of them have own a smartphone. So that is another problem, and this is we were aware of this issue since the beginning. We know, for example, that at EU level, the percentage of older adults with basic digital skills is around 28%, and that percentage decreases at 18% in Italy. So we were aware of this matter, and the first action was to try to really break down all the instructions in a very, very simple and straightforward way. But we realized another interesting thing, that is that we skipped in the explanation some steps that we took for granted, but they were not really easy for them. And therefore, we really started a discussion with them to really understand how they prefer to work and to communicate with us. And we decided to switch to a paper format. So they really prefer the constant everyday communication, also really collecting everything via paper or phone calls. And that was really the key to work with them. So we understood that the most important thing is listening, is communicating with them and really understand their needs and their preferences. And in this way, we were really able to leverage also the sense of community, of belonging they have, also living in the co-housing. And all this part of meetings, being part of the actions and communicating with us was very important. So I think that was the key for us, the main action we were able to implement.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Silvia. It's like the revenge of the analogic world.
It is, indeed.
I can just imagine how challenging could have been. Anyway, thank you so much, Silvia. So last round of questions is about the user acceptance. I would like to ask you, my last question for you, Emma, is about the app. You launched this app that sends the nudges to the citizens. My question is, if the community is playing along with this, do you see people actually changing their habits when they receive a notification or a tip for the community?
So what we can observe is that people start to build up some kind of community spirit. So they are sharing ideas, how to save money, how to save energy, how to spend energy. And somehow they love it to do something together. So we did a series of co-creation and onboarding workshops, working together with the people, and did some kind of belonging together that came up here. And I think this feeling of being part of a community is more important for the people than saving 1 or 2 euros every month. What also changed something or raised the awareness was the visualization of energy in our community app. So when people see on the chart how much energy is produced, how much energy is saved, they get a better feeling, a better awareness about energy production and consumption. And yes, one of the desired outcomes of our pilot is communication, so that people talk about energy, that people talk about our app, that people talk about the actions they did to save energy or to use energy in a different way.
Nice. Thank you so much, Emma, for all the experiences that you have shared today.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thomas, last question for you is, you have deployed a hierarchical zone control system and the app where tenants can set the comfort profiles and the flexibility levels using like a slider. I see in the screenshots. From the user engagement point of view, are tenants actively using this feature to set their preference, or maybe they prefer to have everything automatic, so the system to automatically do everything?
Yes, as I described earlier, we had a very, very long onboarding process in the Danish pilot, and because of different reasons, mainly the language barriers. And so I personally did the onboarding and reduced it after some time to a simple choice for the tenants between prioritizing comfort or savings. And our technical partner, NeoGrid, they have been monitoring user activity, and the result after approximately 3 months after we onboarded was that we have not observed any changes in the tenants' initial selections when I onboarded them. So this suggests that while tenants maybe understand the concept, the system is largely running in the background with very limited active user engagement. But it could also be due to the problems I talked about with the heat distribution. So our pilot is still ongoing, and we still hope to see some more engagement in the last part here. But ideally, we would have to visit them again. As Emma and Sylvia said, communication is everything in a project like this.
Yeah, of course, Thomas. We have still some time to see these results. Of course. Thank you also for you, Thomas, for
You're
sharing
welcome.
this. Thanks. Now, last question for you, Sylvia. Now I would like to focus on the operators that have used the digital twin, which is like an advanced dashboard for them. Does the technical staff see this as a valuable assistant that in some way simplify their work, or did they look at like a bit suspicious at first? Or
As I was explaining before, the energy is managed centrally by the technical department. They act as a facility manager, so they are let's say the main users of the digital twin. And at the beginning, since the system is of course complex and very complicated, but it's not something they are used to, it was perceived or feared as a further workload. But later they started to gradually integrate it in their daily routine. And they really appreciated it because it allows them to, for example, monitor the consumption at department level. And also they appreciated, for example, the daily forecast of the energy consumption. This probably was the main feature that they used. And because this allowed them, and this responds also to one of the pre-existing issues I mentioned at the beginning, to have insights into the consumption of the apartments, and to understand if high consumption of energy is due in every day to the infrastructure themselves, to the behaviors, and really of the residents, and really work on that side. However, I must say that the tool was considered very valuable and very useful because it really allowed them to have all these instruments that they didn't have before, and they are more, let's say, empowered to work on this side without, let's say, just leaving it to how it goes every month and that's it. So I think that was the real added value of the digital twin for them.
very interesting. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you
also from. So this concludes the roundtable session. Thank you again to all the pilot leaders, and I give the floor to Richard for the conclusion of the workshop.
Thank you, Alessandro. Okay, this is what we developed in DEDALUS, and the aim of this workshop was also to present to all of the students, all the target user, the educational kit. So if you want to be, let's say, more informed about the specific services or about the DEDALUS project, please go to the DEDALUS project homepage. You can see the link there. And you can also, if I'm not wrong, Ilaria, have the educational kit, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and that's it.
I will share it, and it is also available on the resources section of our project website.
Perfect. Thank you all, and I think that we can close.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.